Hi guys, going to read out loud round 6 for you after the fire, and then you'll be able to answer the questions as they pop up on the screen in Edpuzzle. Round 6, after the fire. After the fire was put out, we tenants were led back inside to retrieve what remained of our belongings. The building had been completely drenched with water, and the stairs had become like little waterfalls. Glass, pieces of sheetrock, broken furniture, cups, nails, polished pans, hairbrushes, mirrors, bottles, plates, rags, clothes, almost anything, everything imaginable floated in streams of water from the apartment that looked like flooded basements. The elevator didn't work and all the windows were broken. The firemen had axed their way through the door to what seemed to be every wall and every door, leaving the place looking like a bomb had gone off. The fire had left the ugly smell of smoke, stamped and sealed on every piece of clothing that had survived the flames. Soon word was spreading around the building that someone had spilled gasoline down the trash chute. A match had been dropped in, and the fire had shot straight up to the roof. Between the fire and the water damage, no apartment was habitable. No one in their right mind could have spent that night in the building. Blanca and I tried to salvage what we could. We needed Vera's ring more than ever, and I also needed to find the Applejack's box containing Sapo's stuff. Meanwhile, Nazario played his part beautifully. His face led you to believe his place was among the ruins. Nazario was moving from the apartment to apartment, reassuring the tenants that they'd have a place to stay within a month. I believed him. I knew Bodega had 3 buildings on 119th and Lexington that were almost ready to house people. I always knocked the people in Blanca's church, but a lot of them were right there that night helping us move our things. Everyone was splashing around ankle deep in water. If we hadn't had Blanca's spiritual brothers and sisters, we would have been moving things out all night. I had left the ring on top of the bureau, but it wasn't there. No doubt it had been knocked down like everything else. I bent down low, looking for a reflection of light in the water, and then I saw it glittering like a goldfish. I reached through the water, snatched it up, and put it in my pocket. The Applejack's box was a problem, and I started to get a bit scared when at first I couldn't find it, but then I saw it floating, the paper box dissolving like a wafer. I took Sapo's stuff out and hid it under my shirt. A little later downstairs in the lobby, which looked like some purgatorial setting, Nazario had assembled most of the tenants. He spoke eloquently about Latin pride, about a sense of community and trust. He compared the fire to a tragedy like the ones that occurred in the Mother Island or other Latin countries, where the most important form of help you got was from your neighbor, not the government. You have to tough it out, help each other. We're Boricas, Latinos. Where are you from? He asked, pointing to one of the residents. Madagascar, the woman answered. I have an aunt in Madagascar. She raised me. Nazario continued. Well, we were pobre. All I had to play with was a cat named Guayo, a tough cat named Guayo who would dive into a lake like a bear and emerge with a fish in his mouth. The people laughed a little. He hated to go in that lake, but he had to eat. The people understood. You have to tough it out. We are one people, one island, one Latin continent. Then he raised his index finger in the air. One people, 1 month. Tough it out for 1 month. The tenants all began to murmur in agreement. Remember, it was Willie Bodega who sheltered you. At this, Blanca glanced my way with the look of a student who wants to ask a professor a question, but knows the class is almost over, and her question won't be appreciated by her peers, who are dying to go home. Nazario continued, and will it be Willie Bodega who shelter you again? Any man or woman who believes in community and pride will be included in his love for this neighborhood. Stay with your mother, your brother, your sister, your friend, your priest, anybody for a month. Give Willie Bodega a month and he will shelter you. Then Nazario looked at Blanca, telling the tenants in Spanish that this woman was pregnant and couldn't wait a month. He asked Blanca if I, standing behind her, was her husband. Blanca said yes, almost in a whisper. I played along and I held her shoulders. Blanca knew this was a farce. She already knew I could see that anything connected with Bodega was trouble. She was still completely not sold on my claims of ignorance about that reporter's death, and as soon as she heard Nazario mention Bodega, I sensed she was sure he was one of Bodega's pawns.